It says going live now. This Hangout on Air is live. That's actually much faster than it used to be for making things go live.
Oh, so we've got the Q&A button.
I know, right? It's like a bit of a tour of all this new stuff in Hangout. So there's a Q&A. There's now an applause button as well, which I haven't turned on. Daniel Tyson has added a drawer. That means this is not going to go very well.
Oh, it's not supported on your platform. Damn.
Wait, what is your platform? Isn't your platform like the majority platform of everything on the planet?
Yes, it is.
So what is it supported on?
What the hell is
recommended app? Showcase lets you share links with people.
Oh,
Draw is
okay.
not supported on. Wait, Draw is not supported on my platform either.
Who's supported?
What the fuck platform is it supported on?
Well, that's kind of silly.
Yeah. So mind you, in clicking the draw button, it has actually like resized the Hangout video down to a different size.
It's terrible size. Yes, it did that. Oh, there we go. I clicked that. Ooh, there we go. Cool. Oh, we'll add the comment to chat back.
Mine hasn't gone away. Mine is okay. My Hangout window is still tiny. I don't know what's going to happen to. I don't know what's going to happen to the YouTube version of this video either. We might be in Squishvision. Actually, am I in Squishvision anyway?
Yeah.
I'm in Squishvision. I don't understand why. Yeah, frankly, not very happy with life tonight. I think is fair to say. Shall we make a move?
Sure.
All right. Let's just a little bit. All right. Lickety clack. Don't look back. It's time to start. Hello and welcome to the Ausdroid Podcast. This is episode 122. We are recording on Tuesday, September the 16th, 2014. I have screwed up the date in the run sheet again. It's a miracle that I got that right. That means I am your host, Jason Murray. Now, joining me tonight is only the singular, the one and only Daniel Tyson from Canberra.
I get all the glory.
Or Canberra, as one of my friends says at work. How is it down in Canberra?
It's lovely at this time of year. The cold's burnt off. It was a lovely spring day today and quite warm, and then it rained. So that was fun. Yeah. But it meant I didn't have to mow the lawn, so I'm happy.
So I've realised that your Hangout is actually still doing some kind of an effect in the background.
Oh yes, I've apparently got some waves or some sort of beach in the background.
Yeah. That's not really working very well. So this is about the time that we usually have a bit of a we like to start the podcast with a little bit of a culture discussion. You know, things that we've been up to, movies that we've been seeing. I've got nothing. I was very happy. I got to ride my bike to and from work yesterday because the weather has in fact picked up and gotten a little bit.
Actually, speaking of bikes, I got to ride my bike. I haven't ridden my bike in about 7 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, we cleaned out the shed on the weekend, and I actually found the bike pump, and I found my bike, and I pumped up the tyres, and off I went for a ride. It was way cool. And
that is the most maintenance that you've done to your bike, whereas I just had my bike in the shop for a few days trying to fix like a busted spoke, and it cost me a couple of $100. Not a busted spoke.
I think I need to get some adjustments done to mine because the derailleur keeps clicking over like it's trying to change gears, so I think something's going on there.
Yeah. Oh, so you mean it wasn't meant to be a fixie bike?
Yeah, no, I'm
not
that hipster yet. I may have the beard, but I have not got the hipster mentality.
Come on, man! I live in the inner west. You know, I'm apparently hipster enough for everyone. So
You've stolen my hipster. But I did manage to go and see a movie this week. It's pretty rare that I get to the movies and you don't, but I did actually get there. And my movie of choice was actually Planes, Fire and Rescue, the new Disney version of the Pixar movie. So, yeah.
So here's the thing, right? Planes is not a Pixar movie. Cars is.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because it's based in the same world, but I thought it was only Disney, but I wasn't sure. So yes, okay. So they're both Disney movies. But yes.
Yeah, so which explains their rather simpler narrative structure than Cars, I think.
Well, yeah, but I also enjoyed the second Planes movie a little bit more than the first, so
Oh, really?
maybe they're
Okay.
improving. Yeah, I and my wife also enjoyed it a little bit better as well. So yeah,
Okay.
I quite enjoyed it, and the boy did too. It was his first full length feature film, so yeah, he got through it. We all
Did he
got
sit
through
through it?
it.
Okay. Yeah. My nephew loves planes, so yeah, I'm sure he's loved Fire and Rescue already.
I'm pretty sure it'll be a pretty big film for Christmas on DVD.
Oh, do you reckon
Or
they'll
quick
get it
flicks.
out that quickly? Yeah, they probably will. Oh! You went there.
I thought I'd touch the bear.
All right. So quick flicks. Let's talk about quick flicks just quickly then. So, what was your controversial tweet this afternoon?
Well, it was yesterday. I sort of decided that I've had enough of quick flicks and their grandstanding, and I said I was going to quit their service. And this morning at 9:30, I rang up and cancelled my quick flicks account. The CEO of QuickFlix took it upon himself to address the CEO of Netflix and say you need to stop backdooring your way into Australia and cut off the access for the 200,000 odd Australian subscribers who access Netflix through VPN. So yeah, I had enough of that and just went, no, I'm sending a message, cutting it off, went for the better service, I'm sticking with Netflix.
So what are we expecting? What are they expecting? So what are they expecting Netflix to do? Block every VPN service ever?
I don't think it's VPN. I think they're expecting them to go, oh, well, you're using an Australian credit card, so...
Yeah, okay. Well, that wouldn't be the first time we've seen that happen in the last couple of weeks, would it?
Well, no. So...
Thank you, Motorola.
Yeah, we weren't real happy about that, but, well, we'll find ways around it. And hopefully we'll have some news on that soon.
So, now, yeah, so that was... Wait, did the Moto 360 go on sale since our last podcast or before our last podcast? I think it was before, right?
I think it was before.
Yeah, okay. Because we had all these issues with trying to get any orders through, no Australian credit cards, early orders, all sorts of weird things going on with that. Apparently, if you used an American Express credit card, in the one thing that has ever happened that has made me think perhaps I should have an American Express credit card, apparently they were fine.
Yeah, I'm not welcome back at American Express.
Dare I ask why?
Yeah, there was an incident. Several. Let's just say I'm not welcome back on the American Express credit bandwagon.
But hasn't American Express stolen the Optus motto now? It's yes.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to let me. I think even Optus has limits to yes. I think I've stretched the American Express limits of yes.
Fair enough. All right, let's talk about a little bit of Android stuff, just a little. So Android 1 has gone on sale this week in India, and so besides being the most difficult live blog to follow ever on NDTV, which actually
live blog, guys, hour and a half between entries, the way to run it.
So Android 1 being Google's low-cost platform where there's 3 Indian manufacturers, Micromax, Spice, and you're going to have to tell me the third one.
Carbon.
With a K. Carbon with a K. Is it me or has Carbon actually produced the handset that looks better?
It's a toss-up for me because I like the red one, but then
That's
I
the
also
Carbon
like
one.
but I do like the Micromax one.
Fair enough. So yeah, it's low-cost Android phones. They cost just a shade under 120 Australian dollars, which is even cheaper than the Moto E. Google's not sourcing the components, but is playing a part in the source of the components for these manufacturers. And so these 3 phone manufacturers, they've been operating in the Indian space for quite a while. They've just sort of been thrust out onto the world stage, even though they are really still just producing phones for their local market. But now, all of a sudden, we're aware of these names, even though I couldn't recall all 3 of them at once. all the phones, they function off the reference platform that Android announced at Google I/O. So there's it's close to HD. It's actually not HD display, is it?
No.
There's a quad-core processor, 1 GB of RAM. Onboard storage is pretty minuscule. It's 4 GB. I think the last time I saw a device with 4 gigs onboard storage, I think it might have been one of the Huawei devices that I got to review a few months ago. And 5 megapixel rear camera, 2 megapixel front-facing camera. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4, GPS, and an FM radio, which is actually something that we don't see a lot in Google reference handsets. I.e., it's not there in the Nexus devices. 2G, 3G, so they're not 4G devices. They are running the latest version of KitKat. They will be updated by Google, they're basically sort of almost a cut down sort of a Moto G kind of an arrangement. Like,
well, cut down Moto E would be more specific to it, but
yeah, fair enough.
Moving further on from your updates, they're actually being guaranteed updates for 2 years. So they will be getting Android L. Google actually went to the extent of saying they'll be one of the first handsets to receive Android L when it's released. So
have you seen the carrier deals that are going on in India about these devices?
Yeah, they've done a deal with one of the Indian carriers. It's called Airtel, and they've basically given I'm not really sure if you sign up for a plan or some sort of prepaid deal, but essentially if you've got an Airtel SIM card, you get 200 megabytes of downloads per month. So that's a fair amount of data actually when you're talking about just like doing things online, and well. Not what we do. I mean, I burned through that last night when I was setting up another phone within about 2 minutes. It had this annoying data meter on it and it kept annoying me for every time it hit 50 meg. So I burned through that in about a minute. So they're basically doing that, and they're also doing free updates. So the actual software updates, so anything to do with Android will be free updates on there. So that's.
Yeah, so I heard that the free updates actually go for 6 months, not 2 years.
Yeah, there's a 6-month limit on it. At which stage you'll probably find that most people really won't care. I mean, unless you're an actual Android advocate. But essentially, if you can hit a Wi-Fi hotspot, you will be able to get a download for it. But 6 months isn't too bad.
So the 6 months is actually the free updates, the free download of the updates, but the software itself will be updated for longer. Is that right?
For 2 years, that's right. Okay. So you'll get for 2 years. You basically, as long as you can hit somewhere, you can actually get an update for it.
And of course, the big thing is that we've been attempting to source one of these handsets for a while, and you've managed to succeed.
Yes. I have one of the Micromax Canvas A1s on their way to us, thanks to one of my Twitter followers who's actually in India at the moment. He apparently got it same-day delivery, and it's on board with a courier on its way to me now. So
that's pretty awesome. So
pretty damn excited.
I gotta say, looking at these phones now, so I seem to have a bit of a tendency to go towards the red one. Because I like red phones, that's why I have a bright red Nexus 5. But I actually kind of like the look of the white Canvas A1.
That was what I was going for, but I don't think the white one's actually out yet, so I'm pretty sure I've got the black one coming.
Fair enough. Well, if there's it seems like a nice inoffensive display. So there was one thing that jumped out at me when I was looking at the Carbon Sparkle. I love the names of these phones. The Carbon Sparkle, hiccups, I'm sorry. The Carbon Sparkle V Red. It's like,
and there's V Blue too.
Oh, there's a blue. Oh, I thought there was black.
So Sparkle V, and then it's red, and Sparkle V Blue. So it's either blue or red. So
Sparkle V. So Daniel,
but no. The one I really liked.
Wait. Oh no. I've got a joke. I've got to get my joke out now.
Please go.
So you didn't get the Sparkle V, did you?
No.
No. So I doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion.
No.
Oh, don't tell me you haven't seen Donnie Darko. Oh my God.
I've never seen Donnie Darko.
All right, let's move on from there then. So you were going to talk about the Spice Android One Dream Uno MI498.
Could they try and get any sort of back off the HTC Dream or what? Like their first major HTC Android reference design, and they've called it the Dream. I thought that was quite good.
I was actually, I didn't think you were gonna zero in on the Dream on that one. Although
Well, I
notice.
did also went the Android one, and then they've gone Uno.
Yeah, good point. Well, it's the LI498 that got me. It's like I'm gonna walk into a store and just go, yeah, I want that LI498.
No, I want the mouthful. I want the Spice Android one. Dream Uno MI498 black.
Yeah, is there actually another color?
I have no idea. That's all I could find on the Flipkart site.
Okay. All right. Look, enough mocking the device names. I think I feel really bad for it because like it's not even aimed at our market, and I'm sure if these phones did come out here, then they'd have a different name. So speaking of markets, Android One is expanding, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be expanding a lot actually this year. So they're planning to head off into Philippines, Southeast Asia, so Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka this year. And they said that they're going to be doing more countries next year. So that's going to be some interesting stuff. Now,
So when? Because
where?
like it's September.
It's something they could tie in with an Android L release. Do you reckon?
Maybe. But then, so if they were going to do that, you'd think they would have just held off the Indian launch, unless maybe they ended up with a bit of pressure from the manufacturers.
I think they were sort of wanting to launch it beforehand so they could sort of get the whole Android One market and mind share out there. So it's something that you've really got to think about. Like, yeah.
And so the other interesting thing with this is, so we had some rumours a while ago, and I believe Scott flew off the handle when this came up as a possibility that MediaTek would actually be supplying the CPU for these handsets. Turns out it's actually true. Yeah, I mean, look, 1.3
gigahertz quad-core MediaTek. I think it's the 9825 processor.
So going for like a super cheap hardware reference platform, that seemed like a fairly good bet that would actually be the case anyway. But apparently Qualcomm will be supplying processors in the future. But the big news is that Google's actually struck deals with a very large number of manufacturers, haven't they?
They've done pretty well, actually. They've done some pretty big names. They've also done some smaller names, which we haven't really heard of as well. But there's certainly some big names in there. I mean, you're looking at what? You've got Asus, HTC, Acer, Lenovo, to a lesser extent Panasonic, not in our market, but yeah, and obviously Lenovo is not in our market in terms of phones, but yeah, they've done pretty well.
Yeah, so there's Alcatel, OneTouch, Intex, Lava, and Panasonic, not Panasonic, and Zolo. Zolo.
I think they're a Singapore-based company, yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah,
could be, or it could be Thai, I'm not too sure. Yeah, but anyway. But you came up with it. You noticed something interesting in the list of manufacturers.
I did. There's no Motorola, but I sort of wonder if there doesn't need to be. I mean, look, let's be honest. Everyone else, bar Samsung, is pretty much there. Although LG's not there as well. But hey, so look, to be honest, actually, looking at the list again, HTC is probably the biggest name there, and HTC we know is the company that really needs to actually go after that low-end market and try and bring out a device that can dominate it. So.
And they're also, to be fair, the sort of company that if they wanted to, they could dominate this sort of market. Like, they've got the scale and contracts in place to actually really go all in on this and really go to town.
And so besides Asus and Acer, I'd say they probably have, well, Panasonic has a big name in manufacturing anyway. And I'd actually be really interested to see a Panasonic Android One device because Panasonic can manufacture hardware. But when it comes to like writing software and stuff to run their devices and their DVD players and their VCRs over the years, they've been like
average.
So, if Panasonic doesn't have to do the software, then you could actually see a really strong showing from them. But that could be true of any of them. I mean, any of these companies can put the bits together and run the software on the hardware that they make. So look, we will probably have more for we'll probably have more on Android One in the I'd say in next week's show. Now, is your Android One coming on like express overnight shipping, or is it going to take a week?
I have no idea, but I'm hoping it'll be here as soon as possible.
All right. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where Android One can go. I feel like we've seen the genesis of Android One in Motorola's portfolio for the last year.
It's kind of what they seem to be doing, where they were releasing, like the Moto G was their first stab at it, and they went, no, we can go do better than this. And then we saw the Moto E, and then obviously Google may have thought behind closed doors, we can do even better with this, but we need to involve more people. So maybe that was the whole impetus for maybe just divesting themselves of Motorola in the end. And I mean, a lot of us have sort of rued the day that Google actually decided to sell them off, but maybe in the long run for the next 5 billion people that they're going for, it was a great idea.
Maybe. We'll have to see. Yeah.
I think it's going to be an interesting next year, or probably a year or two, because if it doesn't go well in that time frame, they'll either kill it off or it'll be an absolute winner.
Now, so there's one other thing that I learned while looking at all the Android One news this week.
What was that?
Amazon operates in India and not Australia. So we did hear. So which of the phones? It's the Canvas, isn't it? The Micromax Canvas.
Yeah.
Is sold via Amazon.in.
Yep.
And we don't have an Amazon.com.au. We do have an Amazon.com.au that sells like Kindle books and Android apps.
And Android apps and stuff. Yeah. But as I think I replied to someone, or actually no, I didn't. It didn't actually go through. I was on a bad connection. But it's amazing what it'll do when you have 1 billion people in your country. yeah, pretty much. Versus what, 23, 24 million?
So I'm gonna diverge for a minute. Speaking of like population size and stuff, did you see the news about the Chinese city that's painted lanes on their sidewalk for?
The smartphone ones, yes.
So
isn't it only like the length of a bridge or something?
Yeah, so it's satire. It's not a real lane and stuff. But the city has a population of 28 million people.
So in other words, more than Australia in one city.
Yeah, in one city in China. It's the population of Australia.
I'm pretty sure if we all moved to Sydney, we could probably convince Amazon to come to Australia.
Yeah, Amazon can. There's an abandoned shop up the road. Amazon can set up in that.
But then apparently we won't be able to get Optus 3G in the city.
So I decided I needed an Optus test SIM because I've been. So I use my Telstra SIM and I swap it from device to device, and I decided I needed to actually get an Optus test SIM. I took an impromptu trip up to Newcastle on Saturday to take out a portal for the local resistance for Ingress, and I found myself walking along a beach at 6 p.m. for about an hour to get to this portal. So in order to just be safe that we'd have some kind of coverage up there, I got an Optus SIM card as well as the Telstra SIM card, and I didn't end up using the Optus SIM card until this afternoon. And I put the Optus SIM card into the Moto G, and holy hell, Optus 3G is terrible. It's terrible in the city. It's amazing.
I find that every single time I hit Sydney, it's just awful trying to even get any sort of signal as soon as I need to do anything, because I often go up there and do events and things like that, and then I've got to write it up, and normally I just flick my tether on my phone and just get the Chromebook out and off I go, but I can't do it in Sydney, so I've got to find somewhere with Wi-Fi, and just because it's absolutely terrible. So I really love Optus, but ugh.
I feel like I've been living in a bubble for all of this time because I'm on Telstra and I'm on 4G and I pay for it, and I pay for what I get. Basically, is like I'm giving the money and I'm getting service in return for it. I had no idea it was so bad out there.
I think it's just good for people to stop using Telstra every now and then and just see how bad the Optus is. But generally, like, Like I have travelled a lot of Australia. Like I've been everywhere on my Optus coverage, and really never have an issue except in the CBD of Sydney. Like even
So,
once you start going out of the CBD, you tend to get signal on Optus. It's fine, but as soon as you hit the CBD, it's gone. There
so
is
to
just
be fair,
nothing.
I am going to have to try it on 4G and see because Telstra 3G is also useless in the city.
Well, throw in a 4G compatible phone and see how you go. Because Optus 4G is actually quite fast if you're getting good signal.
Yes, this is true. Do you want to send me the Moto G 4G? Because, like,
I can't. Motorola's got it already.
So here is a Moto G 3G, the Moto G 2, which I'm testing out at the
Mm.
moment.
And have
It's
you got the original Moto G there for a size comparison?
why it's funny you say
For our
that.
video listeners?
Our video listeners, video
Video
listeners.
watchers.
Yeah. So there we go. There's the old 3G Moto G compared to the new one. The new one is quite a bit of a monster. It's pretty
I
big.
was going to say a bit of a behemoth.
A behemoth, yes, a behemoth. But it does have a big screen. The screen is quite nice, but I'm finding that you can't really use it that much outdoors. Not during the day anyway. The screen is not as good as the original Moto G. I'm really quite disappointed to say. But you know what is better?
What?
The camera.
Oh, excellent. That was pretty average.
The camera is quite improved. Like there's a random photo from up my street to the comparison that I took this evening, after the sun went down, and I took
That's
that with
quite
an
low light.
on looking. Yeah, it was pretty good. Mind you, so I'm excuse me, I'm finding these days that a lot of phone cameras they perform all right in low light if you're taking a photo that actually includes the light source.
Hmm. So
Um,
the software's able to better render it.
yeah, yeah. If the light source is present in the photo, like if the light source is off, is out of frame,
Hmm.
it doesn't look as good.
So if it's got something to reference it and it can sort of then balance it out a bit. Which
Yeah,
is
I
what
mean,
we've been saying for a long time, that a lot of cameras just need a better software. Like the hardware's fine, just tweak the software. So that seems that's sort of coming to pass.
it seems kind of like we need a phone with, say, a 13 megapixel camera and laser autofocusing.
Where would we find one of those?
I don't know. Let's milk the drama for a few seconds more. Yeah, we
Hmm.
have, of course, published the epic LG G3 review today, haven't we?
It was yesterday, but yes. It's
I
in the
was sure it
wild.
went up today.
Look.
Look, it's possible I don't know what day it is.
We can argue all day, but really, I published it.
uh,
Uh, but yes, either
anyway,
way, it is up. It is on the site.
and you have the phone. You have the phone in your hand because it is your
I
next.
have the phone
It's
because
actually a current.
it's going to be removed from my hands with basically cold dead hands is the way I describe it. So you're not taking my G3 off me. Um, yeah, I love this phone. So yeah, if you're looking for a phone, the G3 is all I'm pretty much going to recommend you if you come asking me for the next, say, 6 months. Well, actually, no, month and a half until the Nexus 6 or Nexus X or whatever it's called is then released. But until then, if you want a phone, G3, get on it any which way you can. That's the too long didn't read of the 6,000 odd word review I just wrote of the G3.
That I believe that sums it up pretty well. But yeah, so if you do want to if you want to have a bit of a read, go look up
It's good,
the
yeah.
G3 review on the site. We will of course have a link in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Ausdroidian 908 has asked if I prefer the Moto G2 to the G1.
And it's a good question.
It is a good question. Look, I'm very tempted to say wait for the review, but I look at it. I'll get a little bit ahead of myself and say I actually do prefer the original. If you're talking purely on a like-for-like basis, so I have a 3G Moto G and a 3G Moto G2 in front of me, and I do prefer the original one simply because it actually fits properly in my hand like that. Whereas the G2, you have to sort of move your pinky finger under it for support, and like all your fingers do fall naturally on the buttons just fine, but it's just that little bit bigger than I would really like it to be.
One question: the speakers, are they actually stereo front-facing speakers?
I believe you might find that there is a left speaker and a right speaker there. So this material, this is actually puzzled me. So this material up the top of the screen, the thing that's made that, it's actually, I figured it out tonight. It's the same as that. It's the same stuff that makes up the buttons. So there's like
that's a nice continuation.
Yeah, it's the material consistency on that, but I don't really like the look of it, and also it also means that there's. The only way that you can really tell which way you're supposed to hold this phone is if you look at it and if you find the Motorola dimple on the back.
The dimple?
Or you go for the power buttons. And I handed it to someone tonight and he looked at it and he just had it up the wrong way. He was like, oh, it looks interesting. And I was like, no, you got it wrong.
Yeah, up the wrong way. You're holding it wrong.
Apparently so. So the interesting thing is that the dimple on the back is not as pronounced on the new Moto G. It's a little bit more subtle. It's almost like they were sort of going, here's where we wanted to put a button, Moto X2, the new Moto.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, look, there's a little bit of an impromptu preview of the Moto G. Hardware, like specs wise, it's really nice. Like it's speedy. Doesn't skip a beat. I'm actually kind of used to a 720p screen at 5 inches. It's actually kind of nice. There's a certain thing I don't really know how to say it. Like a 1080p screen at 5 inches, everything's very, very small and detailed. Whereas a 720p at that resolution, everything's sort of a little bit. It feels a little bit larger. It feels like the screen's spread out a little bit more in front of you, and it's kind of reassuring. You don't need pixel density to make a phone usable. So, yeah.
I think there's a lot of people waiting for that review. So,
well, we only have the phone for a few more days. So yeah, we'll have to get that going.
Excellent.
You name dropped a Nexus device before. Let's talk a little bit about the Nexus 6.
Oh, look, I hate talking about Nexus.
I know. It's terrible. It just stops out. It just pops out. It's like, Nexus. So, what's new in the world of Nexus 6 this week? We've Sorry, it's the story. So the story that you published this afternoon, the Nexus 6 accessories are turning up on, was it Alibaba?
Well, Alibaba basically made a store called AliExpress, and that's basically yeah. So AliExpress has basically just started to get inundated by all these third-party Chinese Shenzhen-based manufacturers making Nexus 6 accessories, and they've actually all supplied.
Can we buy one?
We can.
They're
all for sale. You can literally buy them all.
I want to know when the Nexus 6 actually comes out and I get it in my hand. I want to know whether or not it was actually correct. We should totally buy one of these things. So they're going to be like 50 cents anyway, aren't they?
Oh, I'm actually looking. You've got to buy them in lots of 100.
It's like the worst. Can we find?
Well, you can buy it at a lot of 300, but it only costs you $360 for 300 of them.
Can we find?
Yeah, come on, that is a bargain.
Can we find someone who's willing to pay for 300 phones?
Can we find another 298 people?
Well, no, I was going to say, can we find people who are willing to buy 300 covers for a phone that may not exist?
It's
okay. And it's okay because, like, if you buy this and something happens and the phone doesn't exist, or the phone may not be the dimensions of the actual case, it's fine. You can file it alongside your iPod Nano cases. Your iPhone Nano cases. Remember that years ago when
I remember that.
there was a media storm over the fact that Apple was going to bring out a smaller iPhone because all of the accessory manufacturers had suddenly started making iPhone Nano cases. And I know I pull this out every time we have a story about phones leaking because of the accessory manufacturers.
I normally hate it, but come on, it's Nexus. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And I believe
It's
there's
just
a
one of
Nexus.
those things I have to do.
I believe there's a Nexus 9 adjunct to your story, isn't there?
There is. There's actually. I just happened to do another check on the website, and if you actually do a search for Nexus 9, there's a whole heap of cases that come up as well. So
What if you try Nexus 8?
tomorrow, and well, actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's try Nexus 8 live on the podcast.
We're going to do AliExpress looking for Nexus 8 accessories live on the podcast.
There is Nexus 8, but all the renders look like they're Nexus 7s. Oh, hang on. Here's one. The funny thing is, the Nexus 9.
The Android police render?
I was just about to say all the Nexus 9 and Nexus 8 ones I can see that aren't looking like Nexus 7s all look like they use the Android police render.
Excellent. I actually wonder if
Arthur would be proud of that one.
That's true. Actually, you should really tell him about that. I actually wonder if you place an order for these products, if they'll just be like, oh yeah, there's been a delay in shipping while we wait until, or delay in manufacturing while we wait until the product's announced and we get the real dimensions.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things. Like if you actually look at it, it looks very much like a G3. The screen and bezel at the top and bottom are a little bit different. Like they're smaller, but it could essentially just be a G3 until you look at the back without the rear-mounted keys. Wouldn't
it be mad if the Nexus 6 actually does come out and it actually is made by LG and it's based on the G3 instead of all of this Motorola stuff that we've been talking about in the last few months?
No, I wouldn't be averse to another LG phone. I think we've discussed this before. Like, I don't think either of us would be averse to another LG-built Nexus. But just going on the screenshot that they've got on this supposed render, there's so many issues with it that I really can't. There's just so many problems with it. I mean, you've got, 7 things on the dock down there. They've got the wrong icons.
Oh my god! I just figured it out. They're actually using the screenshot that you debunked last year.
Are they? No, not quite. No, they've changed the wallpaper at least. That was a good start.
Yeah. Can I tell you what I'm afraid of with the Nexus 6?
What are you afraid of?
I'm really afraid.
They're calling it a Nexus 6.
No, you see. So, I'm not a massive Blade Runner fan, and I don't really care for that.
Get out. That's it. You're fired. It's just me on the podcast, talking to myself now.
You haven't seen Donnie Darko either. It's fine. I've seen Blade Runner, but I just don't really particularly care for it in terms of Nexus.
Look,
6.
I'll do homework before next week. I will watch Donnie Darko before next week, I promise.
Ooh, okay. All right, this sounds good. This is your weekend homework. You know what, listeners? If you'd like to watch
now,
Donnie Darko alongside Dan, let people know when you're pressing play on the DVD, and we'll see how it goes. DVD.
I'll live tweet. Follow my tweet.
Okay, so this will be great. Dan Tyson,
I'll do it from the Ausdroid live account, in fact.
Dan Tyson live tweets Donnie Darko 15 years after it was first released.
And then do I live tweet the sequel when I get disappointment?
There is actually a sequel, and I have not watched it.
Yeah. It's apparently terrible. I'll avoid it like the plague.
So you've avoided the first one as well.
Well, apparently so. I'm pretty good at it.
Alright, enough Donnie Darko. This is my fear for the Nexus 6. I've grown to really like and really appreciate the camera on the Nexus 5. And it is my fear that in switching manufacturer of the Nexus, if it is indeed going to Motorola or something, it is my fear that the camera is going to get fucked up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've actually I've gotten to the point where I can use the Nexus 5 camera fairly confidently, and to the point where I can confidently get a better shot than my wife's Galaxy S4 every single time. So I'm with you. I'm very happy with the Nexus 5 camera. It took a little bit of getting used to, but it's at the point where I am used to it and I know how to work it. So yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm with you, man.
I'm a little bit concerned. We will. I guess we'll probably find out within the next month and a half or so what the camera is going to be like.
There is some good news though. There is good news because in Android L they're releasing a lot more APIs for the camera, so you can actually we'll be finding that even if Google stuffs up the camera in the Nexus, you'll be able to download an app that actually uses all these new APIs to fix the camera.
We're assuming that the APIs work.
Well, yeah, okay, that's a fair call. But
so actually that's an interesting thing because we are assuming that the APIs work because we haven't seen those camera APIs in the current Android L preview release, and so the camera APIs will be completely stinking brand spanking new when they actually do come out. So yeah, we'll see. It might even get to the point where it's just like, oh yeah, we didn't put the camera APIs in this release because we wanted to, but we ran out of time. Because that's never happened before, has it?
No, never.
Let's talk about the Moto 360.
We've gone into sarcasm mode. Yes, let's move on.
Yeah, let's talk about the Moto 360.
We're in sarcasm mode. Great time to discuss the Moto 360.
I'm so excited about it. So tell me, has the shine gone off the Moto 360 for you?
Look, I was going to order one until I saw the G-Watch R, and then Google announced the whole GPS thing, and obviously the G-Watch R doesn't have one, so I'm not getting that one. So yes, the answer to the question is yes. Shine has gone off basically all the models of Android Wear that are coming out. They just don't meet my needs. But in terms of pretty, there's two watches that really caught my eye, and in terms of like a dress watch, it'd be the Moto 360 or the Asus Zen watch. Ah,
yes, interesting. I gotta say, I kind of agree. The Zen watch is quite nice. The 360 is, we've been looking at the 360 renders for months. We're all very familiar with that. It's like that. Yeah, The more I look at the pictures of that Zen watch, I really do quite like it.
It's a very nice looking watch. I'm a bit of a fan of it.
And it's not actually on sale yet, is it?
No.
Where the hell is the Zen watch, Asus?
I don't know. Asus are really bad with getting actual dates out of it. They like to put things in stores and go, oh yeah, that went in last week.
Yeah, we're probably going to see Zen watches turn up in Capitol Square in Sydney before. And, oh yeah, sorry, we announced we released that, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there'll be some dude in a computer store unpacking his Asus shit because why the hell have they sent me watches?
What the hell is a Zen watch? Let's jump onto Static Dice now and check Zen watch.
That's a good idea. Let's do that.
No, nothing.
Wait, how did you do that so quickly?
I'm just fast.
Do you know the Zen Watch model number? Because there could be something there. Who knows?
No, I don't, unfortunately.
No one does. So the Moto 360, it got torn down by iFixit this week, didn't it?
That was last week, but yeah.
Was it? Well, sorry.
We're in the realm. We're in the realm. It's in the last week.
It was last week. When I say this week,
it's in the last 7 days.
Since the last podcast, yeah. It's I gotta say, I really liked your headline on this. Finds parts inside. iFixit tears down the Moto 360 and finds parts inside. That actually made my day. That headline when you published it. Yeah.
I try.
Thank you, sir. It was lovely. Yeah. So, I guess the big story with the Moto 360 at the moment is so there's the battery, which there was some controversy over the size of the battery based on the iFixit teardown. And sorry, I got a little bit distracted by the chat room there. I'm gonna bring up some of that stuff. And yeah, and so there was a little bit of controversy over the battery, and then of course the big controversy has been the battery life, which I sort of wonder if people are finding ways to extend the battery life sort of the same way that you do with the G-Watch, which is just turn off vibrations and turn off the active display, and it'll last you a while.
I get 3 days out of it. Like really, I don't have a problem with the battery on the G-Watch. Yeah.
Well, so I saw Andy Ihnatko posted. He tweeted that he forgot to charge his Moto 360 overnight, and when he went to bed, it was something like 35%, and he managed to, and like he'd gotten up and it was at 28% or something, or I don't know. He'd had some ridiculously low amount of battery usage over the course of a day after forgetting to charge it the day before, which means he's getting a couple of days battery life out of it, which seems like a bit of an outlier compared to the rest of the industry having a bit of a whinge about battery life.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's one of those things like, and also when you first get something, you're gonna hammer it. Like you really, really hammer a device when you first get it, like because you're playing with it constantly, and especially with something like a watch, which is it's there. It's not going in your pocket. It's so easy to sit there while you're talking to someone and actually just flick through things.
I got to admit,
I've done this. Terribly surprised.
And so I've done a lot of shit talking on Android Wear for the last couple of weeks. I like to tell people that the voice recognition is there. You can send messages and text, and you can use voice control, and sometimes it gets your words right. Now,
you've seen some of my.
You've seen some of mine too. There needs to be like a macro that is just "Oops, Android Wear voice recognition." But you know what?
Well,
there was that.
It was that the voice search correction. So yeah, it's that came out a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago actually. So I imagine that's going to come to Android Wear eventually. But yeah, it needs something because it's terrible.
You mean the ability to make corrections to the to what it's
to what you've actually said, yeah.
Yeah. So
I also find if you're talking in an American accent, you get better results. Yeah.
That apparently is damn correct. So what I actually did notice is that there was actually an Android or Google Voice Control update, a software update earlier this week. That came through earlier this week. And I was hoping that might have affected something to do with the voice recognition on the watch. But last night, perfect usage of Android Wear. I was riding around town because I had my bike out. The weather was wonderful, and my phone was in my bag, but my watch was on my wrist. And as I was riding down the road, I reached across and dangerously took my hand off the handlebar, tapped my watch, and then put my hand back on the handlebar, and then brought my other hand up. This is actually quite a problem, but let's get to that in a minute. And I just said, "Okay, Google, text my housemate and tell him I'll be home for dinner by a certain time, whatever." It got it perfectly, and it sent the SMS. And I sent an SMS from my watch as I was riding at speed down a suburban street. That's pretty much how it's meant to work. Now, the big problem there is that and so this is all the things like in the demo videos and stuff. It's just people raise the watch and they start talking to it. It doesn't work that way. You actually have to activate it to do that. Although actually, I guess that's actually sort of when you raise the watch up, it's supposed to turn the screen on, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose that might work. Yeah. I don't know. I tried that and it didn't work because it doesn't work when you raise your watch. It doesn't work when you raise your watch from like a handlebar position. It has to be down or whatever. Look, what I'm saying is it needs work. Okay.
Yeah, the other thing it needs work is pairing, because I spent an hour and a half this afternoon trying to pair this to a new phone, and it's just terrible. Like, whatever happened to NFC pairing, Google?
Yeah,
that's my only question. Like, what the hell?
I think what you might start finding is in the next few months, after a certain fruit-based company has announced a a smartwatch with an NFC chip in it. I think you might find that other manufacturers are going to start putting NFC in their watches, although they may not particularly have a use case for it.
I think NFC pairing is a great start.
Indeed. And so Ausdroid, thank you. That's actually a lovely name. In the chat room there says, learn the twist gesture. It doesn't work, lol. But yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, the twist gesture. Yeah, no. So I believe you've mastered the twist gesture, haven't you?
I'm quite good with it. Like, I don't really have a problem with that. Like, yeah, I've been using it since like almost the second day. I think I turned the always on screen off and went from there, and just seems naturally to just sort of go, there we go, back up.
All right. So let's see if this would have worked. If I've left my arm dragging down alongside the desk, and if I bring it up, no, it's not done. I don't understand. Yeah. It's terrible audio. My apologies. I'm not gonna try this anymore. All right. Look, we are running fairly close to time, so very quickly. There are a couple more things that I do want to talk about. Hangouts got updated this week, and it's possibly the worst thing ever.
Yeah, you and Chris don't like this, do you?
We do not. So I've also been talking with other people who don't like it, and yeah, so it's very green now. The new app bar up the top, it's very green. I don't like the fact that I can't swipe between conversations. I'm basically an old man on the internet just complaining, just going,
I don't like it.
Hey Google team, get off my lawn. So like I can't swipe a conversation away. You can't even like archive a conversation out of the conversation list with a swipe, because they've now got the main Hangouts interface is now tabbed, and it's weird, and I don't like it. And one of my friends also pointed out that if you use Hangouts for SMS and you have a contact that has multiple numbers attached to them, it won't identify the number anymore as like home or work or anything like that. It just shows you the number, and you have to make the decision for yourself. It's so stupid, because the old Hangouts used to do this, and I have a theory, which is that a completely different team has taken on Hangouts internally now.
That sort of sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of things that are wrong with the new version of Hangouts, and I mean, bigger picture, there are things that we've been waiting to happen for Hangouts for quite a long time. It doesn't have the ability to properly moderate a room. At the moment, if you have someone in a chat that decides to go rogue and flood the chat room, you can't kick them out. You have to start a new chat room without that person and just like hurriedly invite everyone over.
Yeah. I don't really archive any conversations, and if you guys piss me off, I'll just leave.
We are the only Hangouts that Dan actually uses. But
yeah, pretty much.
So this is quite important to me because I mean, there's a lot of Ingress communities. Ingress Google product. They use Google Plus to communicate with each other. Also Google product, although how much longer. And so the natural way for those people to communicate is in a Hangout. But we now have communities with like 600 members. We can't have a Hangout that actually includes all of the members of the community. Apparently the Hangouts team is aware of it and is thinking about the problem. So yeah, we'll see. So of course the big change to Hangouts this week was necessitated in part by the new Hangouts dialer, which allows you to call out to any phone number on the planet, doesn't it? Well, most phone numbers. At cheap calling rates as well, I believe.
Yeah, cheapish. You can call the US and Canada for free, but yeah, anywhere else it's going to cost you. It's not too bad, but someone actually emailed us and was talking about it and wanting to know if they got charged like banks, like each call, does it get charged individually, or do you get like a monthly bill that gets charged in one hit? And if you get charged once and like for each call, then do you pay bank fees on that charge? Or it was quite an interesting sort of thought, but
this
I
sounds
just
like
don't use
something
them
that I
all.
actually need to try out. I might actually try it out and call my sister and see what happens to my. I actually maybe this is actually a good reason for maybe it's a good reason for actually holding a balance in your Google Wallet with a gift card. You might avoid that
Yeah,
currency conversion fee if they actually charge you in real time.
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So Ausdroid in the chat room actually says Hangout Dialer needs Google Wallet to call out and Google Voice to call in, but we don't have Google Voice here. We're not going to get
And
Google
probably
Voice
never
here,
will.
and yeah, but that is what it is. So just before we do finish off, we have like a rash of launches happening in the next 2 weeks in Australia, don't we?
We do indeed.
Doesn't it? Don't we? Sorry, I got distracted by the chat room again. So yeah, we have a rash of launches coming up in the next couple of weeks. We have the Galaxy Note. I nearly said Galaxy S. The Galaxy Note launch event happening next week. Then I believe there's also a Motorola thing happening as well. So apparently this was an accident, but apparently Xperia Z3 launch invitations were sent out today, and they were quite quickly recalled because they weren't meant to have gone out today. So I wonder if if Sony's PR people are sitting on those invitations. I wonder if they might be waiting for a carrier to announce an exclusivity announcement of some kind.
Hmm. Everyone start looking at your advertisements when you hit news.com.au, etc. They seem to advertise there on Telstra.
Well,
They did for Z2.
Yeah. All right. So look, that's. I think that's going to conclude.
I think that's a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think it's all right. Yeah. Unless you've got anything else we should discuss.
Actually, I was just looking over the Sony Smartwatch 3 specs because Steve in the chat actually said they had NFC already in the Smartwatch 3, and it does.
So I reckon that NFC is going to be used to allow it to pair to a Bluetooth headset. I actually reckon the Sony Smartwatch 3 might be the first of the Android Wear devices that's actually designed to what Android.
Because Sony's been the king of NFC accessories, so
Exactly.
they'd be the guys to actually do it. The Engadget has actually got the specs wrong, but they got me all excited when they listed that there is actually an IR port on it, but according to the Sony specs, there's not.
No,
Because damn it, I loved my infrared TV remote on my watch. It was great.
How'd that be to have your infrared TV remote on your watch? Yeah, it's like, man, yeah.
It was good. I had my $6 one from Deal Extreme, and it was fantastic.
I just
Until the watch
realized
band broke.
I just realized that the gesture that I just did didn't actually show up on the camera. I was supposed to be like, and there we go. See. All right. Look, that is it for this week's podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for bearing with us as I ramble confusedly.
As we meander on through the world.
So look, we took a few diversions this week. We went into a few dark places, like Optus reception, we came out relatively unscathed, I'm going to say. If you'd like to get in touch with us and tell us to not meander quite so much, you can follow us on Twitter at Ausdroid or send us an email. There's a contact form on the website. We're pretty easy to get a hold of. Just go to the website, click around, and eventually you'll find ways to contact us. We've also got a newsletter. We do a few cool giveaways occasionally in there and some other exclusives for subscribers. There's a sign-up form on the website. Give us a follow on YouTube, Google+, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest as well. The podcast is now available on Stitcher Radio and iTunes and Pocket Casts. So if you enjoy the show, please give us a good rating on those services.
Right, Raggy?
Okay, Shaggy, tell us how to contact you.
As usual, you can get me on Twitter or Google+. I'm Daniel Tyson on Google+, and at FrogHello on Twitter, and of course my infamous Instagram feed full of all the best selfies and pussy shots you can find. Jason, where are you at on the net, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at JM77, and you can find me on Google+ at +Jason Murray. And you'll also find a lot of I'm hesitant to say a lot of pussy shots on my Twitter and Instagram at the moment because I have a new cat and he's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. So I like taking photos of him. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for listening, everyone, and yeah, we'll be back next week.
Absolutely.